If you liken the maritime industry with the aviation industry, because they're almost parallel institutions or in industries, and then they have almost identical governance, technical governance structure. And then if you think of the capacity development within the aviation industry, it also mirrors the maritime industry. The only difference is that the maritime industry is slightly older than the aviation industry, say in Nigeria. So when I say it's a bit broad, it's that context. The aviation industry had similar challenges to the maritime industry, but for some reason they were able to at least reasonably overcome the challenges. So therefore, if you say where do we begin to address the challenges, I think we need to draw a parallel from the aviation industry, how they were able to do it. Take for instance, Nigeria invested in Nigerian Airways. We had planes, the planes disappeared. Think of the capacity that we developed for the Nigerian Airways planes. We developed similar capacity for the Nigerian maritime industry. But in the aviation industry today, the technical capacity, human technical capacity that they developed, have been able to go back to run the aviation industry, because these are people who understand planes, the rules and things like that. But we don't have similar, it's not replicated in the maritime industry. So you cannot expect the maritime industry to be able to respond to the challenges of the maritime industry by people who do not have the technical understanding of the maritime industry. So therefore, the maritime sector is at a disadvantage. Now you want to talk about the infrastructure, the decision-making process, and all those things. You cannot expect somebody who do not have the technical understanding of what he's looking at to be able to take that sort of decision. He'll be seeking for advice me this, you tell me this, you tell me that, and then at the end of the day, he's going to base his decision of what suits him. It may not necessarily be what actually suits the industry. Take for instance, when we were having crashes in Nigerian aviation sector, they brought in the experts. Wait a minute, what are we going to do about this? And those who were able to take decisions to guide the government were actually people who understand that sector. They have a civil aviation person who understands the sector, they have regulation person who understands the sector, and so on and so forth. So they were able to turn the aviation sector, and Nigeria now sits on ICAO. That's the highest global ruling body of the aviation sector. Now that's not the same thing in Nigeria and in the maritime sector. When we were going to the IMO Council, I think 2009, we told the global community that made some technical promises to the global community, and because the global community saw the potential in Nigeria, they were able to readmit Nigeria on the understanding that all these promises that you make regarding the technical development of the Nigerian maritime sector, you will keep to your words. Of course, Nigeria did not keep to its words about the maritime technical development, and then nobody wants to deal with Nigeria. So going back, if we want to attain those heights again, we need to look at the technical development of the Nigerian maritime sector, have the competent people there to run those institutions, or at least to be in a position to make input to the decision-making process, so that we can then begin to put a credible technical roadmap in place. It's one of the promises that we made to the global community, I think in 2009, that Nigeria will have a maritime technical development program in place. So once you put a maritime technical development program in place, then people will know how to engage with you. People will know what your needs are. People will know what resources you need. People will know what support you need. Nations that have done that, they are going on in leaps and bounds. Take for instance, Turkey had a similar maritime technical development program. You know, look at where they are today. Malaysia had a maritime technical development program in place, manned by competent technical people who are able to advise their government. Look at where they are today. China ditto. So the other nations ditto. And Nigeria has the potential, not by virtue of our economy, of our population, by virtue of even our remoteness, because we are not within an area where we'll be competing with anybody directly for the maritime sector. We are remote from Europe, remote from China. So if we even develop our own maritime technical development sector, where we'll be the kings of our own palace. Nobody's scared to in the region. Let us take as for instance, Nigeria has a population of about 200 million people. We are dependent on import and export. We are all dependent, are we not? So the oil sector is still driven by resources, maritime, water-based resources that is not technically available in Nigeria. We can go on for a very long list of what is involved. Okay, NCDMB is trying a little bit to go into this area, but it's just a drop in the ocean. So we need to have a holistic maritime technical development. That's in terms of the oil sector. The biggest sector that we have not addressed, because we seem to be focusing on import, export, import, export. Look at the population of Nigeria. We are spending huge amounts of road development. We are developing cities around our roads. 10,000 kilometers of water that's within the nation, and we are not developing it. China developed itself around his inland waterway system. UK ditto. Countries who do not have the inland waterways system, what did they do? They even opened their land to have waterways to develop the economy, because it's easier, more economical, more efficient to move more goods using the water. That's how we can look at. When the white men came to Nigeria, what did they do? They landed in Lagos and they used our waterways to develop Nigeria. Is it not true? They came in and then look at the waterways up to Lokoja, and they were able to open up to Niger, up to Onitsha, so they were able to open Nigeria, and they were able to make their work relatively easier. They only added railways later to improve things. They added this small road network. We were able to move the heavy goods through the water. But now we are not. So we are building cities around our road network. We are congesting the road network. It's no more efficient. We are making our road network unsafe. We are creating safety hazard for ourselves. You can look at the myriad of problems. Whereas, if we go to the utilization of God-given gift of the inland waterways network, look at where Nigeria will be today. Even in terms of property development. In developed areas, properties along the rivers are probably most expensive. But at the moment, we're not even thinking of that. Take Lagos, for example. Lagos is suddenly congested, whereas we have a huge network of waters that we can put those goods onto, and then we can then begin to make Nigeria prosperous. And we say Nigeria is not prosperous. Meanwhile, we are sitting hugely on billions of dollars, simply because we are not utilizing our competent, technically developed people to help to drive these various initiatives.